Hey everybody, welcome to Strength Coach TV. I'm Anthony Rana. This is the show where we take you inside some of the country's best fitness facilities, give you a tour, then we sit down with the owners and talk a little bit of shop. Today we head out to Syosset, New York in Long Island, and we're going to sit down with Jim Alberry of Functional Performance. Jim is a physical therapist, also does some training. He does a lot of work with Titleist Performance Institute as well, so he's got some of the golf technology inside the facility. But what's really interesting about this episode and what you can learn a lot is about location and lease negotiation. Jim has been through a lot with that, and you'll hear his story in the episode. So let's head out to Syosset, sit down with Dr. Jim Alberry of Functional Performance. Welcome to Strength Coach TV. I'm Anthony Rana. I'm here with Dr. Jim Alberry. Jim, thanks for doing this.
I appreciate it.
All right. All right, we're in Syosset, New York at Functional Performance. That's your place, Functional Performance PT, but you also do some training as well. How long you guys been here?
I've been here 2 years. I just hit the 2-year mark this past week as far as, you know, I'm physically in this place for 2 years. I was seeing some people outside of here and then had this cool opportunity getting some equipment, and the physical location's been 2 years.
Okay, so you've been in business for how long then?
4 years by myself.
Okay.
One traveling more, one doing some home care, and it took a long time to open this place, which is something we'll talk about like at the end, just from leases and different things that other people. I was pretty naive going into the process on how long it was going to take and what could happen. Let's
tell people we're in kind of an office park.
Yeah.
It's not exactly like a place where somebody's going to walk by.
Correct.
The first time I came here, I was like, where am I? Oh my God, you know, you're going into a parking lot. It's a super busy street.
Yeah.
And the building is a lot of people in here, a lot of potential. How many square feet?
This inside here, about 1,800 usable, 30 wide, 60 deep. You know, there's some stuff like the back rooms taken over the past 2 years, taken a different, like it's being used where it could be making money, but I don't even count it towards. But the thing is that's not what just I pay for, because I'm in this building and there's common area stuff. I'm paying for the use of the bathrooms. I'm paying for them to take care of the shoveling outside and the preparation of all that stuff. So there's things that right when I was signing my lease that happened where I'm like, hold on a second. That's not the square footage that I'm paying for, because it's all based off of approximate values.
Exactly.
And I'm like, hold on, you can't even just give me an actual number? Like it was scary.
I know that's the one thing I did. I went into an empty space and I measured it, and I'm like, when I saw it on the lease, I said, wait a minute, Ant, what is this? And he said, oh yeah, he goes, listen, first of all, it's not from the inside, it's from the outside, right? So whatever the wall, if there's a 18-inch wall, it's from the outside. That adds up.
A 24-inch corner over there I can't use.
And he said, yeah, there are common area like in front of the elevator that they do throw on, like everybody's using that space. So it is something to think about, but and not to get too worried. If you love the space, you gotta go with it.
And plus, the one thing, you have to spend money. And you have to be yourself. Yes. Like I'm somebody that I don't gamble as far as, you know, going to the slots or gambling on any big boxing matches or things like that. But like I gamble on myself, because so far I haven't let myself down. So it's like, and also, I mean, we're in Long Island. Things are expensive.
Yeah.
And like there's a mindset to things being expensive, then there's a reality that it's actually expensive.
Yeah.
You know, and like I got a decent deal here square footage wise, like per square foot, where I'm only, everything included, it's only about $20 a square foot, which in comparison to other places, it was 37, 46, like 57 at a place that's in the middle. So if you want street access, that's different. Unless you have clientele, like I have some commercial real estate guys now as clients that in the future might pay off.
Yeah, exactly. And you're in a building with a lot of people in here.
A lot of traffic.
At work, especially with the physical therapy piece. It's like, cool, I'm going right downstairs. This is awesome.
Yeah, and I have people that catch me on their lunch, pre and post. And and where we are, it's funny because we're 45 minutes an hour from the city. A lot of people that commute that way, but there's a lot of people that actually commute the other way.
Yeah.
Brooklyn, Queens, into this. This is a big, like, there's a lot of big financial stuff that goes on around here where, you know, they need something early because then they're going to get whatever treatment training, whatever, and we'll talk about what I do there, then they're going to work.
Yeah.
Or they're catching it on the way back, and it's nice. Like, I thought being in this building I would get more flow, but, you know, it's just like anything else. You got to, like, if they don't know, they just walk by their routine. You got to let them know you're here and help them, and once you help one person, word of mouth, they could start to help others.
It's true. Whenever you can do within there and like kind of reaching out to the people in the building, and whether that's in an office park or in a building.
Exactly.
You know, sometimes we forget, even some people forget about referrals within their own, the people that are coming there. They never ask for referrals.
I've actually been bad with that, partially because I don't ask, but then the other part is I have this mindset of I've got to earn the right to be able to ask.
Yeah.
And then it's a part of like that's different with everybody. So then who am I asking?
Yeah.
So if somebody's asking me, I'm going to give a referral, but I'm not just going to give it blindly.
Yeah.
So I'm almost the client that I don't want.
Yeah.
So but also I'm also not my own client. So it's a different mindset.
Yeah.
It's almost like a psychology thing.
Exactly.
You know, you're dealing with the psychology of a person, which is sales, which is everything.
Yeah,
no matter if I'm selling physical therapy, fitness, anything, it's I'm selling a service. It might not be a widget or it might not be a hat or something else, but it's like I'm selling that service, and then I got to figure out who I'm selling to.
Absolutely.
Which is also figuring out your clientele and
Yep.
all the stuff that is, you know, taking me a couple of years to even acknowledge that that's a real thing and then actually do it.
You got to figure out your clientele.
Yeah.
Who is coming in here? What services do you provide?
The majority of my clientele are based from the golfing world. I'd say right now about 75% are golfers, whether they're teaching professionals, playing professionals, club members,
Yep.
junior golfers.
Okay.
And then my thought was like, okay, I set this place up so it'd be, you know, for the athletes. And then, well, it turns into this person's mother, that person's grandmother. Oh, you're a physical therapist, and you know my son's going to you for fitness. You know, I have this shoulder problem, and it's like, oh yeah, I can work on that. So it's like I play this, you know, I play this hybrid role, and some of it is, I know I'm not scalable within that role as far as getting another person to do that. You know, because there's probably only a handful of people that do that. You know, every day as part of their thing versus trying to not be in one single mold. So from that clientele is turned into, you know, to be honest, it's more of like the working professional, and it's like right now it's like a high net worth working professional, which that's not in a way to like brag that, hey, you work with these people that make a lot of money and all this other stuff, but it's the fact of like, if they're my market, then that starts to tap into marketing to be like, how do I market to those people?
Yes.
Part of it is treating them really well and giving them their services and, you know, actually helping them with their goals. But then the other part is, it's like, where do they go? Oh, they also happen to go to the country club. So some people at the country club who are just house members and don't play golf, whether they can't afford it or they can't, then all of a sudden those people are turning into my like part of my clients. You know, like I don't use the word patients because not everybody's a patient. And patients sometimes even, it's almost like a negative thing. So everybody's clients. I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying to use the word we because I'm in the process of looking for somebody. I had an independent contractor that I'm going to be parting ways with, like while this is being recorded, like right around now. And some of that's, you know, and I won't talk badly about them that way. There's nothing bad there. It's just parting ways with somebody in that regard. But my clientele is getting older. So it's like I have only a few young kids when I had a lot more kids, and like some of them are moving on, and then some of them are, you know, they're in sports all the time. So then the clientele being older, and then I'm trying to think of like, okay, where's my marketing for the fall? Because those are the people that, and even for the spring, those are the people that need to start being marketed now. With it being the end of the summer.
Yeah, you got to keep ahead of it. Exactly.
So it's, you know, it's fun too because I get a really active clientele and people that are like moving better feeling. You know, I want to get them like moving more. So I'm keeping them on a rehab end. I'm keeping them kind of glued together so they can excel and perform with whatever. But where a big gain is, I have a couple trainers that come to me. Whether it's injuries, some of them, they just need a second eye. Coaches need coaches. You know, I go to people for things and things that way. Where now it's like their clientele. So I'm becoming the medical professional. They're the fitness professional. And then I understand my boundaries. They know their boundaries. And then people love it.
That's
and we're,
great.
you know, so like that's like the new like avatar of my person is that person that's already consuming services elsewhere. So I'm like the new service, but I'm helping
part
them.
of the team.
Like
we talked about. The title is so much.
It literally, it took me a long time. I've always thought that, but it took me a long time to not be closed-minded about someone else might be done and move on and maybe not use your services anymore because, you know, so business-wise, that's kind of a big deal because that's money walking out the door.
Absolutely. Well, let's go for a tour, get a little tour of this, and then we'll sit down and talk some shop.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
All right, Jimmy. I just wanted to give him a feeling of like kind of the outside and the office park piece of it.
Walking in.
So they're walking in here. You got this nice front desk. Are they checking in?
Yeah. So when people come in, I've got a simple sign in. This is like an old iPad with actually a free sign-in thing that looks cool, and they got a couple different interfaces with it. Yeah. And the one thing I mentioned was free. Years ago, you did a how much everything costs in the thing, and I've actually referenced that a few times, especially when I went to open, because things start to cost money.
Sure.
And then you're talking about, okay, how am I documenting my services, or how am I documenting how people are coming here? And then it's like, okay, did they actually show up? Did they not? What am I using? Google Calendar? Is that even safe when it comes to on the medical end? Is it HIPAA approved? Right. You know, there's a lot of things of where, you know, they come in here, they sign in, and then I've got an area where if, you know, like I want something comfortable. I want something nice. I've had thoughts where this space is unused space where, I mean, theoretically, I can have a couple treatment tables here and have this as actual revenue. Yep. And then also with some of the juniors I work with, I almost like kick some of their parents out of here so they're not poking into sessions. But then it's also the part of where I want something comfortable, and this is where we do our histories. So when a client comes in, they fill out paperwork, they hang here, I come over to them, I mute the TV, I turn the music down, you know, we kind of like set the mood that like the attention's to them, and that's also comfortable. So they're not, you know, like where the tables and everything are, they're not sitting up on something, it's comfortable. Yep. And so that was part of the feel that I was going for, you know, that hybrid feel of like, you know, a waiting room. And it's funny because finding furniture that has one cushion was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. It's just like small things. You know, you're like, oh, I'll just go buy a couch. I'll go buy a chair and some other stuff. And then you sit down in a couch, and like I'm a big guy, I sit down and I crush the cushion next to the lady next to me, which she's going to fall on top. Like it was just like small things that way. And then I have some storage over here, which when we round the corner, I'll show you a little bit more. But over on here, I've recently just been moving things around, and this is going to turn into a place where people can go put some things as well, because you know this is 1,800 square feet. It's not a ton of space. I've got some small group stuff. It hasn't grown as much as I thought it would. I need to get more bodies behind it as part of it. Bringing in another person, or bringing in someone that has services that match with my available times. And part of it is this: when you know I'm a physical therapist with the exercise science background, so there's the training, there's the rehab, and it's one-on-one. So if it's one-on-one, and then what if somebody's wife wants to come? What if we're transitioning into fitness? And then now that person comes, so now I've got a couple here that's been used to independence, and then I got another trainer here, and then there's another trainer, and then now I don't have space. And then now there's not space. Now we're all on top of each other. So I had to think, how can I clear some things out, which I opened up and moved some equipment. But then if, you know, people aren't just throwing their things on the couch, so we've got some cubbies they can put things. That's also a storage for a lot of my, you know, little, you know, there's extra bands down there, and there's stuff in all those, all the different units. And then, you know, I try to provide some supplementation for people or access to it with wholesale accounts, so that I can, you know, pass along discounts to people, but also provide, if someone's coming to me for fitness and we've got to talk about their sleep, their nutrition, their everything, like I want to be able to provide them supplements that are quality. You know, so it's if you want to provide a service for somebody, sometimes it does cost a little bit of money to do it. And then, you know, some people argue don't just send them out, but it's surprising when you point people in the right direction that they don't go there unless you give it to them.
You really do.
Or you just make it like a one-stop shop, like one all price.
So they're going to come in, give us the flow. They're going to come and do the warm-up here right away.
So if someone's coming in fitness-wise, actually even rehab-wise, you know, I've got a long run where I can see people walk, see people move, but then depending on what they're here for, I like getting their, let's say fitness, I like getting their body temperature up. Like, let's just get warm. Everyone's got their program or their goals, so they're either back on the cardio, just getting their like heart rate up, blood pressure up. If not, they're over here doing some functional movement. I've got a turf that is the reason why certain things are set up the way they are outside of space is it's not glued to the ground, and I don't have a strip on here that's tacked down, partially because it's such a big piece that if I tack this down and I destroy this carpet, when I leave, I'm going to have to replace it. So it's going to take up some of the money that I gave. So from a safety standpoint, people know I had equipment here and it kind of bubbled up a little bit, and at the end it bubbled up. So if somebody ever gets turf, this has a really nice padding on it. I went through a whole big thing of the right turf because I have people rolling on it and moving on it. I want it to be comfortable, but I would definitely recommend somebody to put it down because it's always in the back of my head someone tripping. And like currently while this is being taped, the PGA Tour's in town and there's a bunch of guys and their trainers that are coming in and using the space, and I can't have a guy that's worth multi-million dollars tripping on this little thing here just as much as I can't have a 12-year-old tripping and hitting his head. So when it comes to my style of like rehab and fitness, it's individualized to each person, and I want to have every tool that I need for each person. So if I only have dumbbells that only go up to 50 pounds, granted, we could change up reps and tempos and rest and change things, but I need stuff that can challenge people that are stronger, because there's some big boys that come here, some college athletes that come here, and part of it is because I have that rehab part of it. A lot of parents of college athletes like that because first I understand my boundaries. So if they have a strength and conditioning program, I can run them through their program, make sure they're moving well. I'm not high and mighty to be like, you've got to do my way, because my way is your way. So the parents love it because if something's wrong, then I just fix it along the way and we just go right into it. So we've got dumbbells and every little bell and whistle as far as all the medicine balls and I've got Indian clubs and every little toy that everyone's going to have from, all the products, the rad products, the yoga tune-up balls are all fun. It's something where you got to have everything, because some of the things people are going to see, they're going to see kettlebells and be like, oh, this guy gets it. He gets a kettlebell. Oh, the maces, the center mass bells. I'm a geek for all this stuff, so I want a lot of these things. And I got lucky with some of the stuff where I purchased before a company went out, and I got a lot of stuff cheaper that way, which was super nice. And this space here I'll use a lot for sprint mechanics and stuff. Obviously it's not big enough to do a lot of those things, but crawling and rolling, and it's awesome for it. Over here with the platform, we got bumper plates, and I got a barbell I bring over, and we got a newer hex bar that is just, when you're teaching people deadlift, it's so easy to use a hex bar. And it's from a mechanic standpoint, I just love it. Plus I like loaded carries. So that's a good way to mimic like a frame carry and stand up and walk and move with something. And then this piece right here is Life Fitness's Synergy unit that it kind of takes up space, but it also separates space in a certain way. It really does. And it's funny because it's a unit that if used correctly with small group, 90+% that I do is all one-on-one, and if used correctly with small group, you could position people on this side with any kind of suspension units. You can run ropes off of things, and then on the flip side, they had a place for a heavy bag, and then TRX set up on the other side. So it ends up being a thing of where this whole unit, can be pitched that if this was the only thing you had, they've got crazy attachments with so many things, but if this whole unit is all that you had, if you're getting into small group training, this might be with a little cable system, that might be the thing you need. Get a little suspension thing, they got all these individual attachments. So if you have a small space,
because there's a lot going on with that thing.
The funny part, and I've got equipment that's fit into it as well, and some storage. This back room's being used right now with some stuff. Some of the trainers bringing in their players that want privacy. I've got the back room set for them, so that they can just close the door and feel private that way. But like in this space, the whole redefine of this space is having this area where we can work with a golfer in however we need to. We got a body track mat, which is probably, no offense to any other technology, the body track mat, as simple as it is, gives you that information that you can't see a person's foot like interaction with the ground. And what I do is I throw it up on the iPad, and then it's up on the TV. I've also got K-Vest, all the 3D like biomechanical stuff, and a lot of it I don't use it in a traditional sense of where I understand I'm not a golf coach, but we get moving in a way where people have, say they're working on their rotation or working on something with their golf coach, because that's another part of my clientele is coaches that send me people that are trying to get better or people that are losing club head speed. That's the big thing. If you work with golfers, if you could figure out a way to get them to move better, to get more club head speed, I mean, you're gonna be Scrooge McDuck swimming in the money, because they'll pay anything for it. A lot of this stuff is me keeping all this stuff out of my garage is part of it. Some of it is I've got a little thing for finding one-off putters, and that's, if you're a golfer, you get what I mean. If you're not a golfer, he's like, why do you have 8 of one thing? So some of it is when people come in and they're a golf geek, it's like this almost sells them without me even talking.
Yeah, it's really just a unique selling point. And that's where sometimes you got to make those decisions.
This is
on
square
what
footage.
Is the unique. Yeah, you're taking up a certain amount of square footage. How much are you really using it? Sometimes you don't use it. I had a putting green in 5-iron fitness that people walked in. Oh wow, I can putt. Really 50% of my golfers used it. We used it more for our little tournaments on Saturday. That was fun.
Yeah. I've got a basketball hoop for the same thing. So this room right here, and this goes for if you're going to open a business. I don't have a lot of storage here. It's all open space. It's originally what I wanted. I would never change anything because I made a decision and I believe in the decision. But if I was looking to move, I took on a lot of overhead. So that maybe I would go to a place that has less overhead in that regard. But the one thing I would definitely do is either have some built-in storage, like this little cubby I could build in the storage and it'd be fine. Or, in the back build in storage somewhere, build it up, build in a way of that. In the beginning, it cost me nothing for them to throw up walls and it was all part of it. So I could have had them just build something in really quick, simple, frame it out, storage, lock away the doors, called whatever. In this room, I've had visions of this room, people renting it out, and right now it's set up because some people use it during this week, but it's really just a catch-all and where people can change and and where if I need to get something off the floor, it gets in here. I've got a water rower that moves in and out depending on if we're going to use it or not. It's just a space thing. And then the real reason for this door is this thing. This we've got a free throw line, we've got a 3-point line. We have so much fun. It is the most infectious thing of just shooting hoops, and I use this with my junior athletes. From first, just to keep them engaged, just to do something, just fun shooting hoops and seeing who can hold a record. We hold daily records, weekly records. Yeah. We make up world records and stuff. Cool. And then we have challenges. I have them gamble on things. Nice. Try to teach them some things have consequences. You don't always win, so you might lose. And it's just fun. And the parents come over. It ends up it's unbelievably fun.
Yeah, it helps build the culture. So. Cool.
And then this area. Rehab wise, I'm a physical therapist, so I guess you have to have tables, right? Yeah. So it's something where the people that are here for soft tissue work, and I do some instrument assisted stuff, basically I hate putting myself in, I'm a TBI guy, I'm an SFMA guy, I do, ASTIM or whatever. I do whatever the person needs, and then this right here, there's enough space between the tables. I've had equipment to and from where if somebody's working over there, like the contractor I had here, he's stretching someone over here, I can work on someone here. They don't feel like they're on top of each other. I tried to put them in a corner, it didn't work. So here it's just nice and open. There are tables that go up and down. Cool part is for people who are looking into these are portable tables that I have bolted, that I can unbolt to a base that moves up and down. Yeah, okay. So saves you money. Instead of buying the whole table, you buy the base. So when I do an outside event, I have another table, I have one of these, I pop those off, take them out, do my outside event, and then I come right back in, bolt them right back up. It's safe, plus it's nice bringing them up and down. I've got a couple older clientele where they don't want to climb up on the table, but also if you're stretching somebody and you're manipulating something, moving, whatever you need, if you got a table that's at a set height, you're now bending in a weird position and things. So it's funny. You don't think about it until it's there. Plus it looks nicer and it's just, easier that way.
Absolutely. Well, let's go sit down and we'll talk some shop.
Awesome.
All right, Jim, thanks for the tour. Let's talk a little bit really quick about the location again and some of the challenges. Again, we're in what would be considered also a great location, but can present some challenges for you because you're kind of hidden.
Yeah, and initially I had some lease problems with other places, which we'll get into in a minute. But where Syosset is located, people are willing to drive 30 minutes. So 30 minutes gets me into the South Shore of Long Island, gets me in, close into Great Neck where there's a lot of people, up into this place, Port Washington, where there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, and I have people that drive from all those. So where I was at before, at a country club and seeing some people in their homes, I was also taking, I was asking people, like, would you go to Syosset? Would you go to Melville? Would you go to this place? Would you go to Farmingdale?
Yeah.
And there's certain people from certain areas that they never go south, they never go east. So I was going to lose some clientele. And then when I found a place, and the other place I was looking at was within a 10-minute drive of here. But so I wanted to be here. And then I started crunching because of some lease problems. So then I had looked at this actual place previously, and this wall behind us wasn't here, and this unit was like 5,000 square feet or something.
A little vision sometimes.
Yeah. So it was one of the things of where, okay, what's the minimum space I need? How can I work within that space? And then I might have some negotiating power because this place has been empty for a while.
Yeah.
So then there was that part of it. Once you get here, it's not that big of a deal. It stresses me out when there's some people that get really stressed, but then I'm also like, I have had 5 people show up this morning, 3 of which were brand new, and I'm like, you have any problems finding it? Or they were like, no.
Yeah, it's in the communication. Yeah. I did that on my website. I showed a picture of my building. I put a map of like where the parking was, and I gave them the parking regulations in White Plains because for me, it's a really bad place to park. Because the meter maids are always all over.
Oh, parking is tough.
So here you have a great parking lot.
Huge parking lot.
As long as you just kind of communicate to people how you're getting in here, where you're going to be, I think you're fine.
Yeah, and I just created this little infographic of it's a Google map of this area with a popped out thing of this building with, it's just here's the entrance, here's the entrance, here's the entrance, boom, and then
there's plenty of tools to make sure you do that.
And then it's one of the things, like you said, communication. And if I'm clear in the beginning and they know, like, that's the first impression too.
Yeah.
So if I'm just like, oh, see you when you get here, and it's, I just tell them. Sits into a hill. Some people, if you come in the back way, it's the second floor. You just have to come downstairs.
These Long Islanders are used to these kind of places anyway. So let's go over a little bit about your challenges with the lease. You said you had some problems with the lease. Real quickly, like, what were some problems that you had with other leases?
So first it was finding a place and then understanding, like, even the ins and outs of leases. Some leases they have these triple net leases, there are these CAM charges, these extra area charges. There's, stuff where you're paying taxes in some of the leases.
Yep.
And others, electric's on top of the number, so the number looks nice to entice you to come in, and then there's an extra $350 or $550 on top of it, and that pays for other things.
Yep.
Your own utilities, you might be responsible for the air conditioning unit.
Yeah.
So I found one place that was perfect, and it was a raw build out of something that they were splitting up this business that was almost similar to what I was envisioning in the beginning. So they're like, I'm like, you throw up a wall here, keep this there, keep those rooms, we're money, right? The guy was all about it. Everyone's super excited. There was 2 owners of the building. One guy already verbally promised it to somebody else, and then it was going back and forth and trying to get a hold of people, and it was like they were in no rush.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like a 6-week process of like yes and yes and yes. And I stopped looking at other places because I got the owner of the building telling me it's yes and everybody's ready. I signed my part of the lease, and then I give a check and then nothing. So then I'm like, that can only happen once, right?
Yeah.
So then I go to another place, literally right down the road, beautiful spot. Talk about store frontage. There was like 4 or 5 businesses right up front.
Yeah.
Beautiful store frontage literally right off the expressway. You could throw a football into the expressway. Decent parking. And very narrow, it would have had to be designed differently. Signed a lease, they signed the lease.
Oh God.
Gave money. Started ordering stuff, started setting up shipment. All this equipment had to come from California, yada, yada, yada. Big deal with all the equipment because with Life Fitness, it was leaving the Titles Performance Institute. Well, they had 1 day to turn the equipment around. So it's like they had to set up an install and a breakdown and a teardown the same day. Now
That's where you got your equipment from.
And I'm messing like the whole thing up. Well, somebody in the building had blocked my lease on a non-compete that nobody was aware of.
Oh.
I even talked to the woman. She seemed great. She did women's health therapy, and like I was like, I do sports performance in a different style therapy.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, you know, I mean, you can only take my word on this, but I refer out to people. You know, like I don't accept insurance. So somebody, if insurance ends up becoming the barrier to somebody, and I'll even give them a free consultation, because there's only been 3 people in the past 2 years I haven't closed. So once they're in, I'm pretty confident they're going to stay. But if insurance is a big barrier, then at that point I go, okay, well, I can find you somebody who I trust that would accept insurance.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I refer out. I understand that, and I understand there's probably other people that are better for other people than myself, and she still blocked it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so and then this place came, and
somebody
then
was in her ear. That's what it was.
yeah, and you know, it was a fear thing, maybe closed mindset. I can be negative on it, but it doesn't matter. This place ended up being better anyway.
Yeah.
But this space, the build out, once they said yes and we signed, and they muscled me a little bit with me being a first-time business owner. Now I had strong financials, a strong business plan, and money. And it was just, they were able to muscle, because they've got millions of square feet, and so I had to pay more, and like they didn't give me anything, like it was, and then putting up the wall, at least they did some of that stuff, and you know, in the paint. But the thing is they didn't work fast at it. So I'm just like, I gotta get this going. Like, I've been trying to have this business go for 9 months when I already thought it was going to start. And
it's funny, you mentioned earlier the costs that nobody tells you about, video that I did, and one of the things I think is, and part of the idea behind that video was, or that episode was, you know, we always focus on the flooring and the squat rack and all these things. And there's so many other things like these things, like the lease, like finding your place. Once you find your place, there is a whole other world of things that go on with the lease, like we're seeing
big
here.
time,
So,
thousands and thousands of dollars.
And then don't forget, you have to, you know, with a place like this especially, you don't have people just walking by all day.
So you got to get people.
You have to market it. Give us 1 or 2 things that you feel like you've done here to really try to specifically, what have you focused on to market and try to get people through the door?
My big thing is marketing is people to people, with actually going to one of my big clienteles is golf courses. So actually going to the golf course, being like first genuine about it, the fact that like I'm a golfer myself, and I love the game, and you know, not that you don't have to love the game to help people, but it's like I'm like, it's genuinely like my passion now, like new world, like, you know, it used to be, you know, really powerlifting and bodybuilding and things that way, and it's one of the things of where there's too many positive things that come out of it. It's spending time with people and that. So you have the actual part of actually being able to hit a golf ball and do that and speak the lingo, but then making the time to go to the course and to build relationships with the people, to where I'm actually helping them with their, you know, golf professionals give a lot of their time to people. They're overworked and underpaid in most cases. So helping them, and then actually then helping their members, and whether it's bringing value to their membership with bringing some services that way, which some things I'm working on outside of here, but also like face to face, so that they're not just thinking, oh, this guy does golf fitness or whatever marketing terms we want to use. So I think that face to face stuff will always be super important. And then being genuine with what you're able to help them with, where you're selling them the actual, like, they don't know what you provide yet. So like they might have back pain, me as the therapist, and they might not be hitting the ball as far, but they don't know that you can help them with that. So it's almost like you have to show them. So I do that with doing member guests. Right. So I used to do like everything. It's like, oh, you got people at your course, let me go set up a tent. I got all these things. Get this cool little setup. And then it's like, well, I want something that's going to have high conversion. So I'm going to do a member guest where they're like, it's going to be very active with the active members, who are going to be the people that are going to come to me. So if we have the people that are, you know, they're doing something where it's the weekend and they're getting all the out of town people coming in, or they're, you know, a lot of these courses bring in people from, like, some of these people don't even play golf during the year.
I know.
So they're not going to come to me.
The member guest thing as a golf guy too. I was always like, I don't want to go on the member guest. I'll come on Saturday at 8:30 and be there till 10:30 with all your members. That's what I'm more concerned.
So my thing in where I've messed up is not taking ownership of, okay, I'm coming on your property, here's what I need you to do to let everybody know I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
Because there's sometimes that I've gone and there's no knowledge that I'm coming. So it's like one's not talking to the other.
Yeah.
And then now it's lunch. So am I going to walk up to people during lunch and be like, hey, do you want me to stretch it before you? You know, so then it's that whole part of it. But that face-to-face is really important. I do think it's important to have social media marketing out there, Facebook marketing. I do some target marketing to specific people that, you know, specific demographics that, you know, goes on a return. There's like 6 different ads that go out that has converted and it began to start to pay for itself.
Yeah.
Where I've needed help with, which I'm gaining help, is on the Instagram part. You know, it's just more of I'm trying to be genuine.
Be an expert in all these things. It's crazy.
And the one thing that I've always tried to do is do everything myself.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to farm that out. Just on a time standpoint, yeah, I've got 2 kids. I get, you know, I enjoy being married.
Never mind just
there's
the time.
that stuff.
You're not an expert at those other things.
That's actually
you know?
that's actually more important than the time, because you can hustle. There's this big thing of I'm just going to hustle. I'm going to grind and grind and grind. And there's things of where you want to be smart with that.
Yep.
You have to put yourself like I put my fitness on the back burner 2 years ago, opening this place, and then all of a sudden I'm trying to give fitness advice to people. Meanwhile, I'm eating, you know, bad food behind the desk when nobody's here. And then so it's like putting myself back on the burner there is also part of that marketing, to be like, oh, you're playing golf, oh, you're working, oh, you're getting lessons, you're doing that. Or fitness wise, it's like, oh, you've got goals, you're you know, I've reached out, I've got people controlling my nutrition and stuff. So it's like, you know, and I want people to know that I'm investing in myself, so then when they're trying to invest into me, like I can at least trigger that part of it, which is fun.
What's funny is I sold my gym in December and I lost like 16, 17 pounds. So I had to lose weight. I had to sell my gym.
I got those couple extra that I could always lose.
Well, Jim, this has been great. You're doing some great stuff here. I love the, you know, the kind of really open-minded, you know, approach that you have, especially with, it could be tough for a guy who's been a physical therapist, and, you know, sometimes, you know, to let go of some of those roles, it can be really hard. So I think you're doing a great job.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you putting this actual thing together, because, like I said, if I mentioned it today about you had that video of what things cost. You know, all of the things in here, when you start adding up everything, it's thousands.
Yeah,
it's not like hundreds of bucks.
I think mine came out to like $4,000.
Yeah, it's thousands of dollars when you add it all up and you go, oh my God, like it costs what for this and that? And like I'm crafty with making things from IKEA look better, but there's also the part of where you got to spend money to make money. Like, I know that's cliche, but you know, if you go cheap on something and it's going to be something like the furniture, when somebody sits on it, they're like, this is nice. Right? So it's like, it's going to cost a little bit more money for something nicer. And granted, this is not making me money, but it might make money in setting a tone that someone feels comfortable. Because if someone feels comfortable and then somebody like that's the person that people trust, then they tell them, hey, this guy who, you know, he's going to listen. That's the biggest thing. The biggest thing is listening. But without me talking forever on that, I appreciate like you putting this together and just putting, like, I know it takes time doing all those things, but it's helped me just watching those episodes even go, man, could I evolve this service? Could I, they're doing this, not that everyone has to do the same thing, but it's like, okay, can I provide that same service for my clients in a way that's more efficient, that's better, you know, potentially making more profit on those things, because we are running a business here. But the other part is, you know, what do I see other people potentially, you know, what did they fail on that, you know, I could learn from, to be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't try that. And that's what I try to help other people with, is to help them that way, and then this whole thing full circle. And
that's what we do.
Fantastic.
And you know, we do it to kind of take people inside of the gyms that can't go everywhere. So thanks so much for sharing. Appreciate it,
man.
All right.